The Philadelphia Eagles are not the team to beat in the NFC. The team to beat in the NFC is the Los Angeles Rams, a statement that literally makes no sense given that the Eagles pulled off a 19-point comeback in the second half and defeated the Rams on a walk-off block kick field goal. But let me explain, okay? First of all, this is not an anti-Eagles stance, okay? The Eagles are obviously great and have that championship character. Already showed it this year. 3 one-score wins in tough games that they grinded out and got victories with. 2 over really good opponents in Kansas City on the road and now the Rams at home. Obviously, I love Saquon Barkley. Been a little bit slower start to the year for Saquon, but he's still one of the best running backs in the NFL. This offense is great, and God damn it, I love Jalen Hurts. Like I talked about on our live on Sunday, you can send me all your Jalen Hurts apologies and just let me give Jalen Hurts more flowers here because I'm going to, okay? I think the perfect embodiment of Jalen Hurts was the mic'd up clip. I'm sure you saw it, Joe, between him and Chris Jones. And Chris Jones was all butthurt after the Chiefs game. Like, oh, they didn't even get 100 yards, blah, blah, blah. Jalen Hurts goes, we won the fucking game. We won the fucking game. That's all that matters. And some people say they want to win, but they want to win their way. And some people just want to win. And Jalen Hurts says that he wants to win, and he shows that he will win by any means necessary. I don't care what I have to do to win. So stop crying about Jalen Hurts. Stop crying. Oh, he doesn't throw for enough yards. Oh. He wins the freaking football game. His last 17 games, the team record is 17-0. He's thrown for 3,200 yards, 22 passing touchdowns, just 2 picks, 70.5% completion, 8.1 yards per attempt, and 111.2 rating, combined with 737 rushing yards and 21 rushing touchdowns with just 3 fumbles. He scored 43 total touchdowns and turned the ball over 5 times. If you don't think this guy is one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football after watching him make a bunch of crucial throws on 3rd and longs, then the go-ahead touchdown to Devontae Smith on a 4th down as well, the guy can do whatever you need him to do. If you don't think he's a top 5 quarterback in football, I'm sorry, you're just wrong at this point. Jalen Hurts is one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. However, even though I just said all those nice things about the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, there are some concerning trends from the Philadelphia Eagles so far this year. I'm much more concerned with them up front this year than I have been in any of the years previous. The Rams absolutely worked them up front for the majority of this game. They ran for 160 yards on offense, and the Rams aren't known for being like a heavy run offense. And then also, they held Saquon Barkley down to 18 carries for 46 yards. And if, Joe, you remember the 2 games that the Rams played the Eagles last year, that's the complete opposite of what happened last year, because Saquon Barkley in the regular season game against the Rams ran for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had over 300 yards from scrimmage. And in the divisional round, it was over 200 yards rushing again in 2 more touchdowns. So again, they turned that into 46 yards rushing and 2.5 yards a clip against Saquon Barkley. That's a concerning thing for the Eagles. They also only sacked Matthew Stafford once and only have 3 sacks on the year from this Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. That's tied for the 3rd fewest in the NFL, while Jalen Hurts got sacked 4 times this year, 7 times on the year, and that's tied for 9th most in football. So they're getting beat on both sides of the football on the lines. And again, that's something that we haven't seen from the Philadelphia Eagles. And that led me to dig into the numbers, because again, sometimes the surface numbers and the behind the scenes numbers, sometimes they don't add up. But I looked at the offensive line. They're 15th in win rate versus the pass, and they're 22nd in win rate versus the run. And the defensive line is 13th in win rate versus the pass and 15th in win rate versus the run, which is a complete flip of how it was last year, because I also referenced that with how PFF graded them as well. PFF graded their defense 12th versus the run, and their pass rush was 6th, while their offensive line was graded 13th in pass block and 15th or 19th in run block. So again, this is big difference. This is a big fallback from where these guys were last year on the front line. They had arguably the best defensive line in football last year and the best offensive line in football last year. And now it hasn't been that so far this year. So I think they will improve as the year goes on. And obviously, as we've seen these first 3 weeks, this team is still good enough, even without an elite front line, to win games. I just think Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford have that championship DNA as well. I think they're going to take this loss personally, knowing that we had them this game. This was our game to win. If we play a clean game and just get our special teams right, we are beating the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that's what the Los Angeles Rams are taking away from this game. So come playoff time, I still believe in the Rams just a little bit more than the Philadelphia Eagles. And I believe if they play again in the playoffs, I'm going to pick the Los Angeles Rams in that game. So I got to kick it to Joe now. Joe, again, are the Philadelphia Eagles now the best team in the NFC, or is it the Rams?
So, you said a lot of things. You said a lot of great facts, a lot of great numbers, but there's a quote that you said in there. I just want to make sure you know this when you were talking about if the Rams did this, if the Rams did that. You know what Jalen Hurts says? We won the fucking game.
Won the fucking game.
So I don't think it matters, right? And we're going to find out just how good the Eagles are, because they face every single current front runner as a good team, right? Everyone who were calling like, hey, these guys are the current favorites to make a Super Bowl run, right? They got the Packers this year, they got the Lions this year, they get the Chargers this year, they got the Bills this year, all on the schedule, right? Their last 3 games are brutal. Commanders, Bills, Commanders. I'm going to make a comparison right now because they're doing something that another team that I was like, how long is this sustainable? How long is this sustainable? Well, for the Chiefs last year was sustainable all the way to the Super Bowl. Right now, your Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles fly, are winning a bunch of one-score games. Doesn't matter who they're facing. Could be the Cowboys, who we saw get exposed by the Chicago Bears, who we all thought was a dumpster fire heading into week 3. They beat them by 4 points. They beat the Cowboys by 4 points. Beat the Chiefs by 3. To your point, we won the fucking game. Come out. They were down early and big to the Rams. Won the fucking game. They get the Buccaneers. Wouldn't be surprised at the end of that one. They won that game by 1 score 2. And it's just going to keep going like this. Like I have no reason to doubt that they're going to keep going this. You know, and Drew Brees got asked the other day, you know, hey, what do you think of the Eagles offense? Stephen A. Smith and him had a conversation. He goes, you know, I like them, but I don't like watching them. They're boring. It's a boring offense. You know what's coming. They're going to do it all the time, and no one stops it. And you know the outcome. Get into 2nd and short, 3rd and short, tush push. Hey, we'll do one more just in case on 4th down, just in case we don't get it. Doesn't matter. They're not a fun offense to watch. They're not flashy. They're not the NFL standard, but you know what they are? They're Philadelphia. That is what that football team has always embodied since its inception. Not always flashy, not always, you know, grand and explosive, but you know what? That's Philly football. And Philly football got him a Super Bowl last year. And you know what I think? I think Philly football is going to get him at least a Super Bowl appearance this year because honestly, when you look at that team, it doesn't matter. Down big early to a Super Bowl caliber team we predicted in the offseason, you know, does not matter. They're going to do what's necessary to win. That's the pedigree of this team. So yeah, I still think the Philadelphia Eagles are the class of the NFC, and I'm going to believe it until someone proves me wrong, which right now, through 3 weeks, nobody has.
And that's a fair opinion to hold. I'm certainly not judging anybody for saying the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFL or the best team in the NFC or either or. Best team in the NFL, best team in the NFC. Whatever you think they are, they probably are. You know, it's a great football team. And to your point about the offense being boring, I think that's why Jalen Hurts doesn't get a lot of credit is because the offense is boring and people hate the tush push. I think that's why they don't want to give him credit as one of the best quarterbacks in football, despite him and the numbers saying he's one of the best quarterbacks in football. But again, they find ways to win. And again, I talked about it on the live that we did on Sunday. Everybody loves losers for some reason. Everybody freaking loves losers. They if they're talented but they lose, it's like, oh, he's so good, he just needs blah blah blah. And then when people start winning, you see things start to turn around. Again, we saw it with the Kansas City Chiefs when they first faced the New England Patriots in the playoffs. Everybody was rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was like, oh my gosh, we want the Chiefs to take down the Patriots dynasty. Sure enough, fast forward a half decade, everybody hates the Chiefs. They're the exact same as the Patriots were. Nobody wants to see them win. So we're kind of seeing that with the Philadelphia Eagles now in the tush push. People are starting to get tired of it. People are whining, crying, oh, they're going off sides, this and that. And that's just what comes with winning. That's what comes with winning. People hate to see people win, and that's what comes with it for the Philadelphia Eagles. And they're going to win a hell of a lot of more games this year because, like you mentioned, though, they are one of the best teams in the NFL. I just think when they get to the playoffs, I think the Rams have that little chip on their shoulder, that little edge that's going to push them over the top in the playoffs because Matthew Stafford's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. I love Sean McVay. This offense, Puka Nacua, Sammy's been big on Puka Nacua. Love watching him play football. He's an absolute dog. He's a guy that there's some guys in the NFL that, like, even if he wasn't playing receiver, like, he could play another position. Like, you know, like, you could throw him at safety, you could throw him at linebacker or something, and he would figure it out. You know, he's just a football player. You know, he's not a receiver, he's a football player, and that's what, you know, those are guys that I like seeing. And then obviously Devontae Adams, you bring him in the offseason as well. So if they can run the ball like they did on Sunday and with those weapons outside, I think the Rams are just a tiny bit better. But again, I can't judge anybody for thinking the Eagles are the best team in football. They're obviously one of the best.
This has been Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details.